I can't get anyone in a healthy relationship when you carry the baggage of your past and the trauma of the past relationships in your childhood, right? We all have it. So NLP coach, that's part of the programming, the trauma release. If I'm an educator of effective communication strategies. Again, communications, people think communication is all about the words that you use. It's not, it's the result that you get. And if you understand, especially between men and women, that we communicate, we speak, and we listen completely differently, this is also why it's often a shit show. And same with businesses. When we get in business, because there's still men and women in business, but and all the layers in there that we're blind to because nobody teaches that, and it makes life complicated. You think people are jerks, people are resisting you, people are stalling, disrespectful. No, it's you don't know how to speak to each other. I mean, that's what I see all the time, right? So that's one, especially between the men and women dance, right? Men have a national code of respect that's built in that women don't have because you just don't need that. So it's not there's nothing wrong there. It's just how it is. But we have to understand these things. I'm also an ordained minister. I don't know if you knew this. So some of my clients, not only do I put them together and teach them how to be in relationships, but at the end, some of my clients, I marry them myself. I just did 2 weddings last summer. I flew to Texas to marry a couple that was it was her by herself, being a boss babe who can never attract a masculine man. She did the work. She attracted a masculine man, and a year later, he said, "Be my wife." And she's like, she was so grateful. She goes, You're the one who's going to fly out here to put us together." And I did. And then a month later, I was in Vegas doing the same thing with a different couple. So if I'm going to be showing off, this stuff works, right? I'm not blowing smoke. Again, it's not my opinion. It's the research, it's the data, it's the master under which I worked with. I teach nature, science, psychology, anthropology of men and women that make this thing work in a more natural way. Because what's out there, what they're talking about, what they're teaching us is bullshit. It's not against nature. And this is why in the time where we should be more, we have all the freedoms, all the choice, all the liberation, everything should be a lot easier, right? We equalize the playing field. It should be better. And guess what's happening? It's the worst ever in terms of relationships, as you know, right? So there's a reason for this because we're going against what nature does and what works, especially in the realm of love with men and women. Boo! Drop the mic. You got me going.
Oh yeah, it's and I love that. I had someone yesterday, 2 days ago,
Yep.
crazy story. She told me that we're talking and she messaged me and she's like, Terrain, I just can't find a man. I was like, okay, tell me more. What has happened? And she was like, I am too attractive. I was like, oh. I was like, really? You're too attractive. She's like, yes, men love my curves and they only want to have sex with me and they don't want to date me. So I
Yeah.
said to her in my arrogance, I was like, show me a picture. Show me how sexy you actually are,
Yep.
right? Because to her, she feels that because she can only get sexual attention and not sexual and not commitment,
Yep.
she feels it has to be her looks. And I turned around and I told her, it's your responsibility to keep the man the morning after the exchange.
Mm.
And if you can't keep a man, it's because of what you're doing and you don't have anything else to offer. It has nothing to do with your looks. What are your
Yep.
thoughts?
Well, it's typically personality and attitude, and women are very, 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 very righteous right now, and very unreasonable, and very entitled. And straight up, I want to say, sorry, ladies, but narcissistic. He's got to meet me up here. He's got to make three, 6 figures, six pack, 6 feet tall, not knowing nothing about what a man actually is requiring for him to commit to you. So if you want to play the game of superficiality, that you think your butt and your boobs are going to attract a guy to marry you, it'll attract a guy to play with you. Yes, absolutely. And most women think that's how you catch a guy. This is not how you catch a guy. Men are not attracted to, I want to say this, one of my famous one-liner, men marry virtue, not vaginas. Sex has never made a man commit to a woman. It's not the sex. So when in our culture again, I'm talking about cultural bullshit, right? Go girl, boss babe, have sex like men, talk like men, talk shit like men, act disrespectful to men, and think the men are gonna fall on their knees because your body parts, your ass. Are you fucking stupid? Right? Like it's like, but that's the entitlement. Like women think, I deserve. How many times I hear a day? I deserve a high value man. How exactly do you deserve a high value man? What do you bring? Well, me, I bring me, and I'm good, and I'm like, I'm sexy. I'm like, that's not it. That's you deserve, first of all, that idea of deserving. I'm going to say this. Here goes. Right? Deserving means you worked for it. But women's innate, attractiveness, what attracts men is something they're built with. They're born with, right? You're just young and pretty and curvy, and that's what men, sure, you attract men's attention, right? So you're born with it, right? What's men value, but you didn't work for it. A man has to work for his value. He has to work for to build his character. Has to work to build his life. Has to work to make money. Has to work to be valuable, right? So the fact that he makes $100,000 a year and more, he worked for that shit hard, right? And then you show up going, well, I'm pretty, so I deserve a high value man. You don't deserve shit, right? You don't deserve shit. So you have to figure out what he requires for him to commit to you. So women out there, I'm sorry, but the social media has done made a number to women that they think that because they're women that you go girl, you can boss babe, you get anything you want, you deserve the best, and an average guy is something that is not good enough for you. So we have 80% of women going for like 15% of all the man. The rest of the men are left behind, swipe left, swipe left, swipe left, right? Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And
Yeah,
then
it's strange that so many women confuse the attention they get because of their body versus the commitment. Like I
mm,
have a number of female friends, and when I break it down to them, I was like, it's very easy for women to get a man to sleep with them. They don't
yeah.
understand the ease. But on the flip side, they think that, well, men could do the same way. I was like, no, it's not easy for the average man to have multiple women want to sleep with
No
them.
kidding.
But, right, they're looking at it as I'm a 6 out of 10, and there's men on the scale from 1 to 10 is giving me attention. Yes, that's absolutely true. But a 6 out of 10 man doesn't get that same response. We have to
Mm.
work and work and work. Why do you think there's a disconnect between women understanding that having someone for the night is not the same way as having someone in a full committed relationship?
Well, because again, the culture said, go girl, boss babe, act like a man. You could have sex like men, like, because this is what they want. And if you want to just, so women think this is the culture, right? It's not 100%, but it's all over the place. That you meet a guy, you date one, two, three, four. By the fourth date, you like him, he likes you. Let's roll, because you think that starts intimacy, that starts a relationship. And in the psychology of male, it's exact opposite. If I could just play with you and you don't even know me, you're just not worth investigating more into you. I can't build with a chick who's loose. Again, man, marry, virtue, not vagina. So you could be offended all you want. This is the psychology of men, and they can't really explain it. Is they always want to have sex, sure. There's a test there. Are you going to let him? Are you loose? Are you that chick, right? Do you have no value? Are you insecure? Do you need to validate yourself by having somebody like plow into you? That's great. Go, girl. I don't care. But men will not respect that. Period. This is in our DNA. Do you know what I mean? Because a man will not invest his time, energy, resources, and money into a woman who we can't trust. And when women are not virtuous, inside on an instinctual level, men can't trust you. So they will not. So women say, oh, I get high value men all the time. I get flown here and there, and I get on yachts in Miami. And I go, okay, you can get boned all day long. These are high value men, but no one is claiming you. No one is putting a ring on it, are they? You're acting like a hoe, and you think because of the quality of man that are, you know, paying for this, you think that makes you high value. It doesn't. It makes you just a hoe, like the rest of them. And none of these guys are going to marry you ever. They can't respect you. You're not respectable. You don't even respect yourself. But go girl. All right.
What,
So
yeah, what about the woman, Andre, who pushed back and say, you know what, Andre? I had a guy who's making 6 figures. He gave me dinner last night. He brought me out, and he made me feel, there's a word that I know you hate. He made me feel like I was his girlfriend.
okay.
What about those women?
I mean, they that's typically where it goes to, right? Like The guy's kind, he's nice to her, right? He did the right things, he impressed her, but the moment he leaves her presence, he's not thinking about her. She was the in the moment type chick. I'll tell you a story. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous story. I'm in the world of, personal development my whole life. I've been doing personal development since I was 23 years old. That's part of the guy, the kind of, that's my brain. I need to learn. I want to, anyway. And we're telling stories about relationships and the ridiculous things that women, when they feel a certain way, they believe is the truth, right? Here's that story. You ready? So a lot of workshops, when you take a weekend workshop, starts on Friday night. So so I'm seriously just check all like, so you get Friday night, mid-afternoon, you check in and then you meet what's happening and you set up for the weekend, blah, 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 right? So this woman tells me this story. She's in a workshop and she's single. She goes there with a possibility of learning some stuff, but there's also a social network system. There's men everywhere, good men, businessmen, capable men, right? That's what she's looking for. Get it? Totally get it. So on a Friday night after the intro, blah, 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 there's always a either dinner afterwards, cocktail afterwards. There's always some kind of socializing, right? And sure enough, meet this man who's charming and, business guy, good guy, whatever. And so they're up chatting, chatting, chatting. They're sitting together, chatting, chatting, chatting. The evening ends, and they go, she's like, "You want to go upstairs, finish, have a glass of wine?" Of course. So upstairs they go in her room, having a glass of wine. She got tipsy, drank too much. And sure enough, they slept together. So she wakes up and she's actually happy. The guy's a stud. The guy's a business guy, blah, blah, blah. So they spend Saturday back and forth at the event, but on their breaks, they're upstairs having fun, right? So she's feeling really good about this, right? The guy is a quality guy. And anyway, Saturday night, more rolling around. Sunday morning, wake up early, rolling around, order room service before he leaves. And just before checkout, says to her, you know, he goes, "Well, it was really fun meeting you." You go, "Here's my number if you want to call me. I got to take off right now because I got to pick up my girlfriend at the airport." True story.
Reality just hit her.
Lost her mind, is devastated because she says just before that moment, she's like, "I think this is going to work out. I think this is my man." Caught up in the chemistry of sexuality. By the way, this is yeah, having sex early makes people feel like they're compatible when they don't even know each other. This is the stupidity of that, ladies, right? For both men and women will feel like they're compatible because chemistry does that. Our bodies will bond in sex. You don't even know each other. You don't know his last name. You never met his parents. You don't know what his value. You don't know anything about. You don't know what his quirks are, and back and forth, right? But she got caught up in her feelings of all the chemistry and the touching and the kissing and having sex for like 2.5 days. And she actually was falling in love. She actually thought, this is the man. Until he says, "I got to go pick up my girlfriend. Get to meet you. Call me if you want to roll around some more." Devastated. Devastated. Now, I could see that coming a million miles away, right? Did she say to him Friday night, like, "Do you have a girlfriend? Are you in a relationship?" If not, what's your relationship like? None of that, right? Just assume that she got some attention, she liked it, and she went with it. Okay, that's fine. I get it, right? Some people need it. Women need attention. Women need affection. Women need to be touched. Women need to be desired. Yes, but you want to be that girl because he didn't ask the questions. Like, so, come on, ladies, come on. It's
Yeah,
not that hard.
it's like they, like you mentioned, they get caught up in the moment. And
The
I went
feelings,
on a
the
the feelings,
feelings.
right? I went on a date years ago. And what was interesting about this date was I was the person who was asking the woman, because I was on the dating apps at that time, are
Yep.
they married or are they in a committed relationship? Because they weren't
Basic.
asking these questions, right? And it
Yep.
seems like, are you employed, right? But what the questions I remember them asking me is that how much you make,
Oh,
where do you
wow.
work, right? It's very like superficial versus getting to know it. Because I could have been married with 1,000 children
Right.
and they would
They
have
didn't ask
never
that.
known or they'd ask that, right? They
Yep.
probably saw the beard, they saw the melatonin in my skin color, and they're like, okay, that's enough for me. And he works, oh my God. Right. But for some, it's enough. And another thing that I also
Entitled.
notice is that they're
Entitled.
very,
Entitled.
yeah, I was gonna say they're very reluctant to disclose information that they knew would end the date,
Like, I know what
right?
you're saying, but I want you to say
So
it.
so ladies, you guys are gonna
Bring
hate me
it.
for this, but I'm gonna
Hey,
say it.
we're just getting real here.
If you have children, that has to come up. If you have a crazy ex, that has to come up. Right? If you're married,
Seems
that
basic,
has
right?
to, yeah, that has to come up, right?
What are you doing here? Ah,
Yeah, like if you're the barista at Starbucks, I'd rather take that than you be married
right.
with multiple children and hiding it. But I can understand sometimes where they're coming from because they're probably like, you know what, Terrain? It's not that serious. Right? But to
Wow.
the guys, ladies, it's
It's
very
not that
serious
serious.
because the way we look at it is if you're willing to treat the man that you're with like that, or the man that you have been like that, or the father of your kids like that, we think you're going to treat us like that. And it
Straight
comes
up.
back to trust and
Straight up.
respect
Straight
and
up.
peace. That's what we value, right, Andre?
Peace. Peace, flow, harmony, ease. Right? Like how many times I see women say, well, you need to be able to handle a girl like me. Right? You could handle a girl like you. You missed the boat again. You know nothing about man. Nobody wants to handle you, handle your shit, handle your temper, handle your crabbiness. And nobody. This is not what men get in relationship with women. It's not it. We want harmony and peace, and a girl who believes in me, who will help me become the man I want to be out there, support me in my effort as I support her in every other way. Right? Support is two different things for men and women. But again, if you deserve a good man, lady, what the hell? So get off your social media because all those men who are DMing you make you feel like you're valuable, you have choices. Again, who's marrying you? Who's putting a ring on it? None of them.
Yeah, if you
Wake the
can't
hell
be
up,
claimed in public, then
right?
was anyone can be claimed in the bedroom. You know, it's a slow Thursday, and we're like,
Yep.
Ingrid down the street, come
Hmm.
over, make sure no one sees you. You have a
Right.
hood on.
Yeah.
But when it comes to public and you see each other in the grocery store, I don't know who you are.
Right. You think that's not telling? That's pretty telling, right? So, I mean, again, this is the ridiculousness of, for some reason, not understanding anything about the actual instinct in man. And I'm going to say it. I want to say it. There's more haters coming at me and you, right? But like not understanding what men value and putting out like a dude, acting like a dude, and making yourself cheap. Like if you don't respect your own bodies, ladies, how is any guy going to respect you? Right. And again, a man who wants to build and looking for a wife always, of course, will test you with, do you want to go upstairs? And if you're silly enough to think that sleeping with a guy who doesn't know you, that you don't know, will start something, it doesn't. And so even a good guy who wants to build will drop you right there. You know what I mean? He'll play with you as long as it's fun. 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, right? Because you put out, you're the chick who puts out, and he's still looking for his lady out there. You'll come around every once a week or every other week to because you're the one who puts out. I had a woman get this. I had a woman, this God, this ladies, for Christ's sake. So she comes at me. I did a live event. We're talking about all this stuff. She comes at me after the fact, and can I talk to you for a second? So we done one on one in the corner, and she bursts into tears. I go, what's all this? What's going on? She goes, well, I've been with this man for 4 years. We have a 2-year old together. And I've just found out that he has like 3 other girlfriends. I go, that's horrible. I'm so sorry. I feel your pain, But I says, were you like married? No. Were you guys living together? No. Did you guys ever talk about being in a relationship? No. Okay, I'm confused, right? So again, she assumed it makes you sad, but really, like, 'cause she was devastated, and I get it. But she never asked the question, does he want to get married? Never asked the question, does he have a girlfriend? Never the question, does he ever want to build a family? He just showed up once a week. They did the deed, and eventually she got pregnant. He's like, all right, well, you got a baby. Never provided, never protected, provide her. For her, in her mind, that we're starting a family. Never had the conversation. The guy comes around, has some fun, you get pregnant. Okay, well, and he continues having his fun with other women because that's the kind of dude he was, but never asked the conversation, never had the conversation. And poor thing was devastated, right? She actually thought they were building something. Never asked the questions. Ladies, ladies, come on. Just I
I had
don't
a
know what else to
friend.
say.
Yeah, I had a
God,
friend,
man.
similar story. She was with someone almost 10 years, Andre.
Mhm.
And that's how they met. And it started off very sexual, very strong, very passionate, like it usually does, right? But passionate in the bedroom, very strong in the bedroom. They
Makes you
didn't ever have the
feel
conversation,
compatible when you don't know
of
each other at all.
course.
Go ahead.
And the beautiful thing about it, well, at least from the men's perspective, ladies, is that many men who behave this way, and it goes back to our first discussion where there's three types of men, right? There's the
Man.
boys, the guys, and the men.
Yep.
And there's these boys out there, ladies, who are going to tell you exactly what you want to hear because they're
Absolutely.
so good at telling you exactly what you want to hear. So
They
my friend went through a situation. She was with this guy for almost 10 years and he didn't claim her as as her girlfriend.
That's his
They would do
girlfriend.
their thing, they would hang out, she would come over there. And now that that has ended years ago and she's in a serious relationship, she can see the difference. They go out together, they're claimed in public. And when Andre mentions that you have to have these conversations, don't be afraid to have them because if you're hesitant to have them, you know what the answer is. The answer is he doesn't like you that way.
Right.
It's as simple as that. Right, Andre?
And you want to find out up front. Do you know what I mean? Like if you try to if you look for a husband, somebody to build something with, right? But you don't ask the questions because you're hoping he's a good guy. You're hoping he's going to commit. You're hoping he wants to what you want, but you don't talk about it. And start sleeping together thinking you're going to charm him because if you don't sleep with him, he's going to be mad and he's going to find somebody else to sleep with. That's a boy. That's a player, right? That's a guy who just wants to get laid. That's a man who's learned that women don't respect themselves. And if he doesn't have to do anything special to get laid, he's got swag. He knows what to say, right? He will say everything that your teenage fantasy little girl inside of you wants to hear. That's so easy. That's so easy. We could all do it, right? But most good guys don't want to do this. They don't want to manipulate women in bed and lead them on. But some guys don't have swag, so they do it that way. I'm just saying, right? So when I was younger, before I was married, like I remember looking back in my past, not one fucking time with all the girls that came in and out, no one's ever asked me, what am I looking for? Why am I dating? Do I have, am I looking for a wife or girlfriend? Right? Am I seeing other people?